I'm your host, Eric Eisenberg. Welcome to Hero Blend number 12. Batman vs. Superman and Captain America 3 are ready to go to war over a release date in May 2016. Who should move? Who should stay? Watch the discussion and find out. Welcome back, everyone. I am back with movie content director of Cinema Blend, Sean O'Connell, who is back, I think, for his third appearance now. Is that correct?
I think so, yeah, that's right. We talked Spider-Man last time, and now we're getting into Marvel and DC.
And we did talk about a bit of the TV stuff as well. So you're one of my most well-ranged guests, I think. I think it's fair to say.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So today, though, we are actually, speaking of well-ranging, we are talking about both the Marvel Studios developments and Batman vs. Superman over at DC, because we are talking about the massive release date battle that is going on over in 2016, which is 2 years away still, yet we are going to worry about it now, because that is how Hollywood works, people. That's how it works. So, Sean, first, let me get your thoughts on just this entire situation. Batman vs. Superman and Captain America 3, both set to open on the exact same weekends. Let me know what you think.
It's suicidal and it's silly. And someone's going to have to blink, and I'm not sure which one, but someone's going to be the bigger project and decide that I think that you can have two movies on the same weekend, but not that size. Like they're so massive, and I think there used to be a lot of magic to having that first weekend in the summertime. There were a lot of movies that did better than they probably should have because they were the first movie out the gate for the summer blockbuster season, and casual moviegoers who are just ready for a blockbuster tend to go to that weekend. But Captain America: The Winter Soldier's proven that, and then Fast and Furious before that, have proven that the season is stretching into April, and it's very easy to get a tentpole blockbuster off the ground in April. And so for that reason, and I'm not saying that Captain America 3 has to move, but I don't see why. Like, they've already had the template there. Like, hey, Cap did so well in April. Why don't we do Cap 3 in April? Get a jump start on Batman, Superman, because I really do think if both of them hold their ground and they each come out the same weekend, I don't doubt that people will do double features and people are going to go see them.
I think
they won't make as much as.
I think there is a share in this audience for sure, but I mean, we have seen, like, I mean, a couple of years ago you had, or it might have even been last year, you had the Fast and Furious and Hangover Part 3 going head to head, and nobody walked away a winner from that. Well, I mean, Fast and Furious kind of walked away a winner, but they're eating each other's box office. That's no point in certainly releasing on the same day. The question is, who should move?
And the idea of claiming these dates so far in advance, I mean, the only reason that a studio does that is to piss on the territory, isn't it, right? To say that we're here, don't come here. So I don't know why two people then are landing at the same junction and not realizing someone has to move.
Well, I mean, it's worth mentioning at this point that Marvel has actually owned this release date for a long time now. I think it dates back to last summer. We didn't always know it was going to be Captain America 3. That news came out recently, the last couple of weeks. But it wasn't until, and Batman vs. Superman was supposed to be the 2015 release. In the last couple of months, we know it was delayed.
Right.
It was the one that moved into Marvel's territory after, as you mentioned, they pissed on the spot. They claimed it as theirs. So it is weird that it's an obviously aggressive move by DC. But like let's break it down by project. Like, let's start with Captain America. What would you say is what are the pros of it sticking with its May release date?
Momentum. I mean, it's coming out of Avengers: Age of Ultron. We don't know how that story is going to shape out, but I think it's going to set up some major things for Cap.
I mean, Captain America was obviously leading into Age of Ultron, so the idea that it would lead into Captain America, Age of Ultron would lead to Captain America 3. That's just logical. So.
And there will be Ant-Man in between there. Is that right?
Yes, that's true. Yep. You have Avengers in May of next year. Then Ant-Man in July of next year, and then Captain America 3 in May 2016.
So there's going to be probably an end credit sequence or some sort of continuity that's going to throw audiences to Captain America 3. Captain America 3 has the benefit of having several Marvel projects that are going to be leading up to it. Yes. Batman Superman has nothing. Until we get to Batman Superman, it's talk and speculation and news that we will break. But Cap 3, as we've seen with Winter Soldier, it's just going to be one other piece of a much larger story that's being told. And so...
an extremely popular story at that. Like, I mean, Captain America: Winter Soldier makes nearly $100 million its first weekend. Avengers: Age of Ultron is going to absolutely destroy the box office. We can expect that at this point.
And so here's the thing. So here's what I was saying about Cap 3. It can open any weekend, and it's going to do very well because the Marvel fans are going to turn out. I do think that first weekend of the summer is a benefit to Batman and Superman. Although, again, what does that need beyond just being Batman and Superman? That is another project that seems like it could open January 2nd, you know, the second weekend of January, which is normally a dumping ground, and still do $500 million.
Yeah. But at the same time, I mean, you can't blame them for like being drawn to this opening May spot. Like this has been this has been a popular weekend for marking the start of summer for many years. Obviously, I mean, you had Spider-Man on that weekend back in 2002, setting the first $100 million box office record opening weekend. You had Avengers breaking the $200 million box office record. I mean, May is that's a very keen weekend. I mean, it's not curious why they're fighting over it, but at the same time, and I think it's also worth mentioning, Marvel has owned that release date for many years. Last few years,
they really have. I was going to say because DC has had like June for Man of Steel, and the Dark Knight did July for the most part.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, well you're right. I'm sorry. It was June for Man of Steel and July for the Batman movies. You're correct.
Right. And so I didn't see. You know what? Batman Superman should be a July 4th. I mean, why don't they just go for that huge weekend?
And right now, the only thing there is Terminator, and honestly, Terminator would probably run away fairly scared from Batman Superman. I think that's pretty much guaranteed. But I think it is. I mean, part of it is the fact that the summer of 2015. Yes, it lost. I'm sorry. Well, what am I talking about? I'm talking about Terminator in 2015. These stupid blockbusters going out so many years in advance. This is what happens, people. Anyway, to get back to 2016. Yes, you're right. But we also have to remember that Ant-Man is coming out on July 20th of 2016. No, what am I talking about? I'm getting lost again. Sean, help me out here.
This is the problem of thinking too far out.
This is actually what I meant. I'm sorry. It's not Ant-Man that's coming out in July 2016. It is another Mystery Marvel movie that is coming out in July 2016.
Okay.
That is what I meant to say. So there is the fact that Marvel can't really move deeper into the summer, so it would have to move backwards. But as mentioned, there is that benefit of having that summer, breaking the summer kind of boost.
Right. We're also talking about two movies that haven't shot a single lick of footage. I mean, Chris Evans, he's still filming Age of Ultron. Forget about Captain America 3. And Zack Snyder, I mean, maybe he shot a few things, but nobody's really done anything on either of these projects. And so who knows what could happen in terms of delays, post-production problems. I mean, there are a lot of things that can happen between now and 2016. But I think it behooves...
was delayed already. I mean, that's...
Right. It behooves one of these people to move. And I just think that it should be Marvel. Because, okay, give me an honest answer. And I know you love Marvel. Believe me.
Make this your pitch for why Marvel should move, because I am ready to pitch why DC should move. So hit me with it.
I think that if the casual fan has to choose between Batman, Superman, I'm not talking about you and I. I'm not talking about comic book guys who are going to go on Friday night to both. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about someone who has discretionary income and is going to choose one. They have to choose Batman versus Superman versus a third Captain America, which is just a standalone Marvel movie and a third one in a good line of storytelling. Mm-hmm. You're talking about Batman versus Superman, and I think that the Joe public, as long as they don't screw up the marketing, casual fan on that opening weekend is going to go. And think of the headline if they go head to head and DC beats Marvel.
That's true.
And I mean, all the extenuating circumstances, but just that would be the headline: DC beats Marvel.
But I mean, that is a good point, and frankly, it leads actually to my argument, which is that Marvel right now, as you mentioned, has the momentum. They are unquestionably the biggest franchise running. Right. I think that to have them give up the May release date would show weakness that they don't need to show right now. I mean, Captain America: Winter Soldier is a absolutely gigantic hit. It's only going to make more money through the rest of April because it doesn't have any huge competition. But Marvel is where it's at right now, and it's not going to want to lose face to DC by shifting its release date in. It wants to show that Batman vs. Superman has as much to fear from Captain America 3 as Captain America 3 has to fear from Man of Steel versus Batman. So I think that Marvel definitely shouldn't step down no matter what. And knowing that, I think that DC should be the one to move off, go to June or July, plenty of space, and give Marvel the weekend.
Especially since Marvel has the pieces in place, they're sort of, you know, they're churning these movies out now. They know what they're doing. Snyder's going to need time in post-production to make sure that this is perfect. I mean, in having this conversation, I've convinced myself that it should be the July 4th movie. We haven't had a huge July 4th movie. I think it's been things like Cowboys and Aliens that have been a little bit disappointing. I mean, even when you say it's a Terminator, it's a fifth Terminator. Really? I mean, I'm not that excited by that. But if you told me that, you know, Batman, Superman, two of the greatest iconic American heroes of all time, were going to go toe-to-toe on July 4th, come on. Who isn't there? Who isn't there?
Well, Sean, thanks so much for spending the week again with me on this episode. I will be sure to have you back soon.
Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Have a good week.